Well, WWE decided to make up for last week's SmackDown by giving us an absolutely insane SmackDown just ahead of Saturday night's main event, which will eventually roll into the Royal Rumble. We open the show with Sami Zayn hyping up the Montreal crowd, saying that he's going to go on to Saturday night's main event, beat everyone in that fatal four-way match, and then go on to the Royal Rumble and defeat Drew McIntyre to become the new WWE champion. But before Sami can really get rolling into things, Trick Williams comes out, roasting him all the way down the ramp, and says that, Sami Zayn, you are beneath me. And then Sami turns it around on him and says, no, Trick, it is you that is beneath me. And then, after all this transpires, Damian Priest comes out, starts talking trash to Trick. Sami kind of gets in the way. Trick decides to bludgeon Sami with the microphone, and then everything just starts breaking down. Right after this, in a backstage segment, we get Randy Orton explaining how he's going to be the one to win the Fatal 4-Way at Saturday night's main event. And this was a really passionate promo by Randy Orton. This opening segment and Randy's promo alone has me so hyped for this Fatal 4-Way match. At first, I wasn't too much feeling it just because I'm not that over on Damian Priest. Sami's been an underdog for way too long. They don't seem to want to pull the trigger on Randy and whether or not they actually want him to be a main event guy anymore. And then I just don't have high hopes for them doing much with Trick. I hope that, that they do something, but I don't think WWE's going to do anything with them. Earlier in the day, we have Carmelo Hayes coming into the arena, and he finally meets up with Ilya Dragunov, and he offers Ilya a shot at the United States Championship. And surprisingly, this time, Ilya accepts. And then, he runs off. Then we get the Miz that comes out, and, Carmelo, Miz, they just love to hate each other at this point. They basically further their feud in this backstage promo. But this leads us directly into the only reason to watch SmackDown, and that is the United States Championship Open Challenge. Carmelo Hayes versus Ilya Dragunov. There was a lot of hard-hitting stuff in this episode of SmackDown. This match, especially because Ilya starts bleeding within the first 2 minutes of the match or something like that. These guys, it wasn't the barn burner when Carmelo Hayes won the United States Championship. This was a fantastic match. Carmelo Hayes, throughout this entire match, is still selling that same knee that had been bothering him the last week. Like I said last time, I hope this isn't an actual injury and it's just him selling something for multiple weeks. That's what I'm hoping for, because I'd hate to see Carmelo lose the United States Championship just due to some random injury. These guys spend the entire match just killing each other, just beating the absolute dog water out of one another. Ilya Dragunov finally gets the upper hand nearing the end of the match. He goes up to the top turnbuckle just to get pushed off by The Miz. What? I'm assuming that's going to make this like a triple threat match for the United States Championship, maybe at the Royal Rumble, or later on, maybe like Elimination Chamber or something like that. But when he pushes him off, then Carmelo Hayes does, what is it called? The first 48 on him. And Ilya Dragunov does like this crazily insane front flip off the first 48 that leads into the pinfall. This match was just amazing. If anything, I'm looking more forward to this triple threat scenario that they got going on between Carmelo Hayes, Ilya Dragunov, and The Miz, more so than I am the Fatal 4-Way, which is saying a lot. Then we get an interview section with Michael Cole interviewing Cody Rhodes, and he kind of wants to talk about him losing the title, generic stuff for an interview. But then Jacob Fatu decides to break in and confront Cody Rhodes face to face. Jacob explains that it's kind of Cody's fault that he lost because he was just going to beat up on Drew, because here he explains that Drew was the one who kicked him in the face, leading him to have dental surgery, keeping him off TV for, I think it was like a couple months. And then, Cody's like, well, I'm the superhero guy. I gotta protect everybody and whatever. But we did see a different kind of version of Cody. He decides to bring up Jacob Fatu's real life stint in prison. I don't know what kind of baby face does that, but I guess. I really enjoyed this newer side of Cody, and then like this more charismatic version of Jacob Fatu, where they're allowing him to talk a lot more than they ever have, while also him just like last week destroying everything in his path. The only thing I don't really like here is that they didn't clash at all. I mean, verbally they clashed, but if there's really that much heat between these two, you think a couple hands would have been thrown. Right after this, we have a backstage segment with Chelsea Green and Alba Fire. They run into Jordynne Grace, and Chelsea Green decides to offer Jordynne Grace a part in the Secret Service. And I'm sitting here thinking like, Chelsea Green and the Secret Service, fantastic comedy stuff and everything. Jordynne Grace is in the world title picture right now. I don't see Jordynne Grace accepts. She accepts to be part of the Secret Service for, I'm assuming, one night only. But she agrees, which totally blew my mind. I really genuinely thought that she was just going to blow her off. And this show's pacing is so amazing. This episode of SmackDown was so good pacing-wise, because I can't remember if it was a commercial and then the match, but either way, that led straight in to the Jade Cargill and Chelsea Green match. It wasn't as much of a squash match as it was last time between these two, but I understand the story they're trying to tell. They're trying to keep Chelsea Green in this like main eventer status, maybe upper mid card level, while she's getting just beat the crap out of by Jade Cargill, but also keeping Jordynne Grace in the same sphere as all this. I love it. Also, heel Jade is the best Jade. There is just no other opinion. Jade, of course, wins this fun match. Jordynne Grace basically says, yeah, we're gonna fight. If you want to, we can fight tonight. Jade's like, nah, chief, I'm cool. See you later. And yeah, I'm still not impressed by Jordynne Grace. I hope she will change my mind in the near future. But right now, she just doesn't seem like world title contender to me. That's just my opinion. Chelsea Green, on the other hand, I think you could just slot her in anywhere and she'd fit perfectly. We get a segment of Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Things are still a little bit rocky over there. They're still best friends, but you can tell there's just the slightest bit of tension. You can feel it in the air. This I don't really care for, so this was a low part of the show for me on an otherwise fantastic show. And right before we get to the match between the Wyatt Six and the MFTs for the WWE Tag Team Championships, we get Solo Sikoa in front of, his family tree with Bray Wyatt's lantern. And he basically tells the Wyatt Six that there's nothing you can do as long as I have this lantern. You might as well just hand over the Tag Team Championships. Before the match even starts, Solo gives the lantern to Tala Tonga, and Tala Tonga heads off to the back. I'm assuming that's to protect the lanterns, that way there's no shenanigans or anything, but later on there's always shenanigans. This match was kinda slow when Dexter Lumis was in, but as soon as he got tagged out and Joe Gacy came in, things started to pick up pace. Dexter Lumis was able to come back out. The pace never slowed down after that. And of course, like I said, shenanigans. You got JC Mateo, you got the other Tongan brother, and then you've got, what's his name? Big Redbeard dude. I can't remember his name right now. Oh, that's gonna bother me. What's his name? Anyways, they start fighting on the outside. All chaos ensues. Tala Tonga comes back out with the lantern. And at first I was kind of like, wasn't the whole point of him going to the back so nobody could touch it? Nobody can mess with it? But he uses it as a way to, coax everybody to him and get everybody away from everybody else. Big Red comes in, him and Tala Tonga go at it for a little bit. Then Uncle Howdy gets in, he's able to get the mandible claw on Tala Tonga. until Solo Sikoa spikes him, hits him, and then they hit, who was it? I believe it was Dexter Lumis, gets hit with the lantern, and then, they win. 1, 2, 3. My Family Tree is the new WWE Tag Team Champions, which I think is the right choice in this scenario because the White Six have had the titles for quite a long time and haven't done anything with it at all, really. I mean, how many defenses have they done? Like 4? So hopefully with these new Tag Team Champions, they can freebird rule it. They can go all over the place. Hopefully the Smack Team Tag Title division will be revived through the MFTs. Soon after this, we get R-Truth talking to Nick Aldis about the Royal Rumble. R-Truth wants in. They're soon interrupted by AJ Styles. Nick Aldis has a question for him. He kind of asks him about his career for a little bit. AJ goes, I know you didn't call me to get me all the way here to Canada just to ask me about this whole career thing. So what do you really want me here for? And then Shinsuke Nakamura comes into frame, and they set up AJ Styles versus Shinsuke at Saturday night's main event for what might be the final time if, AJ loses at the Royal Rumble. And I am so hyped for this. I hope that we get like old school Shinsuke and old school AJ just giving it everything they have. I cannot wait for this match. Going back to the tag team division just for a brief second, we get Fraxium that comes out because we're about to have Nathan Frazier versus Johnny Gargano. And of course, the storyline here is that Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae still have Axiom's mask, and for some reason, they really, really want this mask back. Like, it might as well be like a chalice made of gold at this point. I don't know why they want it so bad, but they do. This match, once again, absolutely insane. You did not want to miss this episode of SmackDown. It was just so good. I'm not going to do a play-by-play. Just go back and watch it. I can't even talk. That's how excited I am about this whole episode. I will tell you about the end, though. Candice LeRae puts the mask down on the commentary table. Axiom gets the mask, and you think, hey, I got the mask. Let's just, dip out of here. But he puts it over Candice LeRae's face. She gets pushed up against the ring. Johnny Gargano goes to help her pull off the mask. I'm assuming she thinks that it's Nathan Frazier trying to get the mask off of her. She decks the crap out of Johnny Gargano, and then Nathan Frazier's able to pick up the win, and they're just standing over Johnny with the mask like, haha, we won, loser. Candice LeRae's able to get the mask back from Axiom because he's not paying attention. She dips out, and if I remember right, Johnny dips out too. So this feud is going to keep going. I'm assuming next week we're going to get Nathan Frazier versus Axiom, which I'm all right with. I just hope this feud doesn't drag on too long. It is over just a mask. Let's remember that. We finally get Drew McIntyre coming out to tell everybody that it doesn't matter who it is. Thought 2, Cody, Priest, Sammy, Trick, Randy. It doesn't matter who you put in front of them. When it comes to the Royal Rumble, Drew McIntyre is leaving WWE champion. He does bring up Sami Zayn and Sami Zayn's son, saying that his son has looked at his father as a disappointment the moment he was born. So, just good heelish Drew. I love it. Right after this, we have 2 minor feuds set up. First, we have Dragon Lee versus Trick Williams. Dragon Lee says not to forget about him to Trick Williams, so I'm assuming that's a feud that's going to be held up until after the Royal Rumble, maybe, or, maybe it'll play a part in the Royal Rumble. Another one is Matt Cardona versus Kit Williams, because, of course, Kit Williams will not stand for toxic masculinity, and Matt Cardona is apparently the whole embodiment of toxic masculinity in his eyes, so that's another one that we can look forward to. Both of these, I'm going to pick the Kit one first. I really am liking the Kit Wilson character they got going on. I don't want to put down Trick Williams or Dragon Lee, both fantastic, but I am looking more forward to this. Second to last match on the card, we have a #1 contendership for the women's tag team titles. Julia and Kiana James versus Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair versus Nia Jax and Lash Legend. This match really wasn't anything to write home about because, I don't know, there wasn't really any high spots. There wasn't really any low spots. There were some cool moments, don't get me wrong. But the biggest thing to come out of this is they picked the most unexpected team to win in Julia and Kiana James. I honestly thought Alexa Bliss, Charlotte, or Nia Jax Lash Legend. That's honestly what I thought. So I am looking forward to seeing Julia and Kiana James to fight whoever comes out of Saturday night's main event, either Rio or Judgment Day. I'm excited either way. There is a short, brief backstage segment saying that Julia is already the United States champion. They plan to go on and beat whoever is the women's tag team champion, so she'll be a 2-time champion. And then once Julia goes on to win the Royal Rumble, she'll be a 3-time champion. She'll have the United States Championship, the women's tag team championships, and whichever world title she wants to go after. I have a good feeling that that's not going to happen, but I'm glad that WWE planted that little seed to make Julia just seem that much more of a threat to everybody in the women's division. Right before the main event, we get a lot of stuff. Priest runs into Sami Zayn, and he basically tells Sami to stay out of his way. Sami goes, or what? What are you going to do if I don't stay out? You don't tell me what to do. Priest walks off. There is real tension between these guys. And as Sami's walking down the hallway, he just so happens to run into Drew McIntyre. They look at each other, and Sami just slaps the crap out of Drew and just walks off. This is still underdog Sami Zayn, but it's a different underdog Sami Zayn, if you know what I'm saying. AJ Styles is stopped by Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes gives him some good luck ahead of his match at Saturday night's main event and the Royal Rumble. As he keeps walking, we get to his tour bus, and we see that Drew has left a note for him saying that Drew McIntyre is the real American Dream. And now it's main event time. We have Damian Priest versus Trick Williams in an insanely, once again, good, hard-hitting match. These two big guys just going at it at one another is fantastic. Sami Zayn comes out. He just kind of circles the ring, observing what he's going to go up against at Saturday night's main event. This is eventually until the match goes on to the outside. Trick Williams picks up Damian, throws him into Sami Zayn. They collide and hit the barricade. Trick is able to get Damian back into the ring until Sami Zayn runs in, starts beating the crap out of Trick. Then Drew gets involved. He starts pushing him. They start fighting each other. Everyone starts beating the crap out of everybody. I can't remember who gets out first. It was either Sami or Damian, but they are both disposed of to the outside of the ring. Trick Williams is left in the ring. We're standing there. The credits are rolling. And then you get Randy that pops up behind him. He kind of starts dancing, taps him on the shoulder, gives him a good RKO, sends the crowd home happy. Boy, oh boy, am I excited for Saturday night's main event. Genuinely, this was a fantastic SmackDown. You can't get much better than this kind of SmackDown because the pacing was just so on point. The only dead spot was when they had Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair talk to one another. That to me, that was the only dead spot. Everything else just flowed so nicely. The matches were fantastic. There really wasn't like a dull moment to write about here. So saying that, I'm going to give this episode of SmackDown 4.5 out of 5 stars, which I think is the highest thing I've given since I've started reviewing weekly episodes. Anyways, that's my review of January 23rd, 2026 SmackDown. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought about it. What were the ups? What were the downs? What did you like? What did you didn't like? Thank you all for watching, and I will see you again next time.